All right, now welcome back, and we're in the final part of this 2D game into the 3D game of our survival series. So this episode should not be too long. All we got to do is finish up this game, or finish up this little 2D game. So last time we dropped the fruit and stuff like that, and we set up the fruit falling from the sky. Now this time we've got to fix some things. So the first thing we need to fix is, if you notice that when we press play, you'll be able to hear the fruit going into the basket. See? You can hear it going into the basket, and that's not good. So we need to fix that. So that fruit should not be falling until we press the mini game. And let's go to our access spawn, and let's open that up, or access mini game. And this is the code that I'm going to add there, but we're going to get it from here. So in our fruit spawners, we have event begin play. First, they move back and forth, and then they spawn a fruit. We need to take that spawn fruit off of here. We don't want it to spawn fruit on event begin play on the fruit spawner. Okay, but in the mini game, that's where we want it to happen. So we can take the spawn fruit and put it here. But in order to get it here, because this is the mini game, we got to access that fruit spawner. So what we do is say get all actors of class, and we want the fruit spawner. And then what you want to do is, for each one of the fruit spawners that you have in your world, so say for each loop, for each one of them, all you want to happen is you want it to spawn fruit. So come over here and say spawn fruit. And now you can connect it up, and that's good to go. So now the fruit will only spawn when you access the mini game. And that's exactly what we want. All right, that should solve the problem. So now when you press play, the fruit won't be making any noise when it goes into the basket until you start the mini game. It won't even be falling. So let's now see all the fruit starts to fall now. And that's good, that's fine. So next thing we need to do is, because there's no background music like there's supposed to, let's just take the music and let's play the music at this point. And then we'll make it into an audio. So we'll make a cue of the music. So let's spawn sound 2D. And then we'll make this the sound that we want, which is going to be our background music. And then what we want to do is connect that right on up. So this is all in our access to mini game. Right after we remove all widgets, we're going to spawn this sound, and then we're going to play this sound. So let's check and make sure the background music now is working. Yep. All right, now it's working. So perfect. Now we'll fix that part. Background music fixed. Boom. Now we need to add in a countdown timer. So when this game does start, we want a timer to start. So this won't be too hard. What we need to do is just create a widget real quick. So let's go to our 2D, and we can actually do a new folder called HUDs. And in here, let's do the countdown timer. So let's user interface, user widget blueprint, user widget, countdown timer underscore WB. Okay, and now all we need is a canvas panel. And on that canvas panel, you just want to put some text right here at the top in the middle. So this is where our countdown timer is going to be. My text is going to be slightly bigger than that, so you can actually see it. All right, perfect. And now what you want to do, I'm going to justify mine to the center. What we want to do is create a binding for this text. So this text block, I'm going to make it say 00, and the binding right now, create a binding. So here is very simple. All we have to do is create a variable over here. So in my blueprints, come over here and create a variable called time remaining. And this one should be a float. Now, drag that variable off. So get that variable time remaining and put it in here. And then basically we're just going to put it straight to here. But here, you can put it there. It's going to give you the two text. But from the pink, we need to format the text. And the reason why we're going to format that text is because the time remaining can put curly brackets time remaining, and then you could say seconds, or you could just leave it alone. You don't have to have this here, but I just wanted to show you the format text. For me, I'm just going to plug it straight in. Fractional digit 0, maximum fractional digits, I'm going to say 0. I don't want any fractional digits. Bet. All right, now that we have that, this time remaining is the most important part of that. The next thing we need to do is go back to our third-person game mode. So if you can remember in our third-person blueprints, there's a game mode right here. Go into your game mode, and we need to create a countdown timer here. The reason why the countdown timer is here is so that it can be persistent no matter if we switch levels, switch players, or whatever happens. So we're going to create a custom event, and we're going to call it game timer. All right. And now for this game timer, all we've got to do is a few things. So drag off here and say set timer by event. And you're going to get this node right here. And the event that we want to do is this time we want to drag off and make a custom event. This will be our game over screen. So when the time runs out, it'll be game over. And what time do we want? Let's just put like 30 seconds on the clock. Now, after here, we need to get the time remaining time by handle. So from this blue, say get time remaining time by handle. And we'll drag that down here. After this, we need to create that widget. So create widget. And it'll be that countdown timer. And once this does come on the screen, we want to promote it to a variable. So promote to a variable, and we'll call it timer ref. So it can reference our timer. And then we're going to add that to the viewport. After that, we need to create another custom event so that it updates the time over and over and over again. So let's make a custom event called update time. So down here, say custom event update time. And what this is going to do is we need to set the timer by event, set timer by event. The event that we want is this actual same event right here. And then we're going to get our time reference. So the way we'll do that is we'll drag it off of here, get this, and then from that one variable that we had, set time remaining, that one variable that we made, time remaining, that's all we want to do is set that and just set it to this value up here. And now you should be good to go. Let's put this time to 1 right here. Okay, and then update time, we'll call that at the end of this function here. Update time. Boom. Now your timer should be set up all good. So game timer has to be called at some point. So let's go to the access minigame. And right after it removes all widgets, let's get the game mode. Third person game mode. Cast the third person game mode. Get game mode for the object wildcard. And what we want to do is call that custom event that we just made, which is game timer. And now that should start the game clock. So let's see that pop up on our screen here. All right, see now I got a timer on the top of my screen. It's counting down. So there's no functionality for the game over right now. So we didn't put that in there. Perfect, but when it gets to 0, it'll call that functionality of the game over. So now let's make a game over widget. So let's go back into our HUDs here, and let's make another widget. So user interface, widget blueprint, and this time it's going to be a user widget. It's going to be called game over 2D _WB. And inside of this one, all I need is a canvas panel, and I'm gonna need a couple text points here. So in this text, I'm gonna make it say points, and I'm gonna anchor all of this to the middle of the screen. Make it a little bit bigger here. So points, oops. And another one that's going to say duplicate money or whatever we called it. I don't remember if we called it money or whatever. And then another one, so I'm going to duplicate it again, that says equals. Justify that one in the middle. So then it's going like money equals whatever. Okay. Now I need another text block. So I'm going to duplicate the points one again. And I'm going to put this one underneath points. And this will be our actual points. So I'm going to bind this one, make it say 0, 0 first. And I'm going to bind it to the points. So if we can remember, the points are on our paper character right here. So let's get all actors of class, paper character, and we're going to say get, and so we can say get points. And that will be plugged in here, however many points they have. Put 0, actually put 2 there. Once it puts the points there, let's go back to our designer, and we need to duplicate money now. And we're going to say this is how much money they get. 0, 0. So bind, here, let's create a binding here. And we're going to get the paper character. So get all actors of class, get paper character. And let's say get, and then we're going to get the points, get points. Now, how much money are we going to give them? Is it going to be points multiplied or points divided by, right? So I think if they get 10 points every time, so let's say points divided by 5, because the points will be divisible by 5. So points divided by 5. You could put any number here. I'm just making up a number. Now let's put a condition here. So if that points divided by 5 is less than or equal to 0, then we want to, let's add a variable here called money. Money. And it's an integer. This is in our paper character. The only reason why we're doing this is so that in our game over screen, we can call the money. So from here, say get money and set money. We don't really even need the get. So we'll just say if the points are less than 0, then set money to 0. True. True. And this could get plugged in here. If it's not less than 0, then just add it up correctly. This value should be plugged into here, because this is for the money. So if it's not 0, then just take money value, so copy and paste this return node and put this into false. And all we need here is this value. Bet. Compile and save. Now when we need to call that game over screen, so go to your countdown timer, which was in the third person game mode. And on the game over screen, we're going to create widget, and it'll be that game over 2D. And we'll add it to the viewport. Let's come over here and let's actually put an image behind everything. So type over here, image. We want it to black out the screen. And anchor it to the full screen, and then zero everything out. 0, 0, 0, and 0. That way we can put it behind. So on the Z order, put -1, and then change the brush color, the tint over here to black. There you go. And at the top of this also, I'm going to put some text that says game over, just to let you know it's game over. It'll be red. And it'll be big. And it's going to say game over. And it'll be justified in the center, and it'll be top center of the screen. Bop, bop. Okay. So on the game over. So from the game over 2D widget, we could add a possess node to go back to the third person character, but that's not where we're going to add it. We're actually going to go add it on our game mode. So if you can remember, at the end of the game mode, there's a game over screen. All we did was add it to the viewport. So from here, I'm going to put a delay, and I'm going to say 7 seconds. And then I'm going to remove it from the parent. So I'll take it from here and remove from parent. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get all actors of class. And here's where we got to do. So the third person is the actor that we want, third person character. From here, say get, so we can get the reference of it. From here, we can drag off and say possess. And you can possess the end pawn and get player controller to be the target. And what will that will do is, as soon as the game over screen hits, it'll wait 7 seconds, and then it's going to go back to the character. And that's what we want. And we want the character to possess right where they were. So another thing that we have to do is we have to remove a widget from the screen that we put up there. So if you don't remember, we put this countdown widget on the screen. So let's get this time reference or timer ref, and remove from parent. And another thing is we have to get that audio that we started up. So if you can remember, we put ours into the access mini game, and we need to turn that audio off. So what we'll do here is turn the audio off. So if you can find the access to the mini game, which I don't think it's here. So we have to get all characters, or get all actors of class, access to the mini game, access, and then we'll get, in order to stop the sound, so we get the mini game thing, but we don't have the sound to stop. We do, but we need to actually make it a different way. So in the mini game, we actually plug the sound variable that we made into here, but we need to just make the sound. So this is on the event interact. When I spawn the sound 2D, I'm just going to come off of here and promote it to a variable. And I'm going to call it sound 2D. How about like 2D BKG sound. So that's my 2D background music sound. Then I'm going to plug it in there. That way, when I come over to my game mode now, I could just grab that sound off of here. So 2DB, get this, and I could just stop it. So all you have to do is drag off of here and just say stop, and it should stop the audio that is playing. And that should be it. Now everything is finished for this episode. You should go in and put in your real points, and all of the point systems would work. But let's just make sure that the sound part is finished once we transfer it back. And perfect. Now we've got our 2D game inside of our 3D game, and that's where I'm going to end this episode. So on yours, I would hope that you go in and add your point system, make it sparkly, make some whatever else happen. But that's where we're ending it at. And I hope you learned something, and I will holler at y'all in the next one. Peace.
Run to the money, on my feet, don't fail. The DA and the judge wanna do their best to jail. I done heard it